Hello, this is Steve Sanangelo from the SRS Rock Report, and it's great to be back. It's been a while since I've done public YouTube videos, but I will be doing more now because I see some very interesting and exciting times ahead for silver as a store of value asset. And today, I'm going to talk about the surging silver mining cost, which is now, I believe, impacting the market price. The cost to produce silver just keeps moving higher. Now, I did the analysis for the SRS Rock Report subscribers, and in this update, which is the top silver miners' record high cost for the second quarter of 2024, how much higher is the cost to mine silver? Now, the last time I updated this chart, and this is my chart showing that the silver price tends to bounce off the cost of production. And for 50 years, the silver price has been extremely volatile due to an increase in speculation. And so the red bars, which I have here, the red cost bars, represent my estimated cost of production. Thus, the silver price continues to bounce off them. Now, we're going all the way back to 1973. If you've been following my work, the big move in the silver and gold price was due to the huge increase in the oil price, which pushed up the cost of production. But we saw a huge increase in silver speculation. When it came back down, this is the cost of production. In the 80s, it remained very low. And then as the oil price increased after 2000, it also pushed up the price to produce silver. So the cost, even though we had a lot of volatility and the silver price, the cost continued to rise. Now, as of December 2023, the cost for the top primary silver miners, according to my analysis, was $22.50. I just did the update for the second quarter, and now it's around 26%. This is my total estimated, I call it adjusted net income approach. It's $26, and it's probably likely even higher than that. So that's a $4 to a $3.50 move in the cost in just the first half of 2024. And I got that analysis by looking at these companies. And if you subscribe to the SRS Rock Report, you can get more details. But I've got Silver Crest, Fresnillo PLC, Pan American Silver, Hecla, First Majestic, Endeavor Silver, and the weighted average for the group, because even though Silvercrest has a much lower cost, it's only producing about 1.3, 1.4 million ounces of silver. The group produced about 28 million ounces. So the weighted average turns out to be 26.86 based on a 28.54 price. Now, a lot of people will say, Steve, well, you can't go by the primary silver miner's cost of production because it only represents about 30% of supply. Now, this is sort of true. And as of 2023, the global mine supply was 830 million ounces. A lot of that came from copper, base metal, zinc, and lead, as well as gold. That's where the mix, so about 70% came from base metal and gold production. Now, the thing is, so they said a lot of people still have this idea that the base metal mining industry, like the copper mining industry, it makes its money off copper. And so it gives away its silver. Now, these are the 5 largest silver producing companies, according to the 2024 World Silver Survey by the Silver Institute and Metals Focus. Fresnillo PLC produced 53.5 million ounces, and it is known as a primary silver producer. The second largest company was KGM Polska Miedź out of Poland. It almost produced 46 million ounces. Now, this was as a byproduct of base metal mining. And you could see the other companies. This was a zinc producer. Again, here's Pan American Silver, and then Glencore, a base metal producer. So we see there are 3 base metal miners. Now, what I want to show you, this is KGM Polska's first half of 2024, and they basically produce copper. They produce some other things, but mostly copper. And they produce a lot of silver, 46 million ounces of silver last year. So if we look now, the figures here are in the Polish zloty, in their Polish currency. It's in millions. So if we look at the profit of 1,074, and we divide that into their revenues of 17,480 Polish currency, it's a 6% profit margin. And this is a pretty good indication of what it costs KGM Paleska to produce its copper. Now, what we need to understand, the second largest silver producer in the world, which is a copper-based metal mining industry company, if we look at its revenue breakdown, silver was 13% of its total revenues right here, which is 2.29 billion of the Polish zloty. That's what it, so it represented 13% of its sales. Now, if we look here, if we excluded that 2.29 billion of silver revenues that the KGM Paleska made, if they didn't have that revenues, this 1,074 million would be gain would actually turn out to be at 1,000 million in the Polish currency loss. That's what it would be without the silver revenue. So we need to understand, even the base metal miners, many of them now are struggling to make money, and they need all the revenue they can get from their byproduct silver. So they're not giving their silver away for free. And I can prove that because if we look at their production for the first half of 2024, KGM Paleska produced 665 metric tons of silver. That's about 21.4 million ounces of silver. If we take their estimated, or their 2.29 billion in the Polish zloty, and we convert that into dollars, it's $600 million of silver revenue that KGM Paleska in US dollars earned in the first half of 2024. We divide that by 21.4 million ounces. Look at that. That turns out to be $28 an ounce. They're not giving away their silver for free. People think they're giving it away for 5 or 10 or 50. No, they need that revenue to fortify their balance sheet. So if we understand and that the profit margin for KGM Paleska to produce copper with its silver revenue that it needs to remain profitable, the total cost for their copper is like 94%. That is a pretty good estimate. And the copper price, I estimate for the first half of the year, was $4.20 a pound, which means a 94% cost is $4.03. So we could see that KGM Paleska isn't making a lot of money producing copper, and it needs its silver revenues to remain profitable. So to say that we can't go by the primary silver mining industry, it's producing roughly about 250 million ounces of silver. The market needs that 250 million ounces of silver. But we also realize one of the largest base metal miners, KGM Paleska, needs its silver revenue to remain profitable. So even the base metal miners are struggling to make a profit. So their costs for silver are probably about the same as the primary silver miners. So this is important to understand. I'm going to be putting out more articles and video posts about silver, gold, energy, and what's going to happen to asset values in the future. But with the mining cost now, primary mining cost at 26, this is now becoming, we see the floor now in the silver price has moved up. And I do not think we're going to see these costs decline. I think they're going to continue to increase as we see additional central bank printing. So if you would like to check out the SRS Rock Report, I put out a lot of detailed information on the metals, the miners, energy, the economy, what's happening. And please check it out at the SRS Rock Report. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, I look forward to seeing them in the YouTube comments.